Hello, and welcome. I am Ben the Bold, and welcome back to our Two Sicilies Rises campaign, where we have taken two Sicilies and become the mighty empire of Italy, and we are a mighty industrialized empire of Italy. Our literacy rate is steadily increasing. Our GDP is, I believe we are 5th in the world. Let's just check that real quick. Yes, our GDP is 5th in the world. We are truly cemented ourselves among the great powers, not just of Europe, but of the entire world. We have spent a lot of time building out our military in the last episode, and I think that it is time for us to use that Italian military to expand our Italian ambitions around the Mediterranean. And I think the way to do that is to finally, Tripoli has been in our customs union for quite a while. They are very much allied to us. I don't necessarily think that they are a thorn in our side. However, I absolutely wouldn't mind making them a protectorate. That will give us some infamy. The other place of Italian ambition in Africa, or better yet, actually in the Middle East, I think that I want to start conquering some states away from Egypt. Now, I would love Crete. I think that that could be a valuable naval base in the Eastern Mediterranean. I also would love to take both Palestine and Transjordan. That would give me an opening to eventually take the entire Arabian Peninsula and expand fully into the Middle East, and even from there into the Far East, perhaps in Indonesia or Indochina. So I think that is the direction that I am going to go today. I do think, though, that we should go ahead and we will start by making Tripoli a protectorate. Now, hopefully, we won't have too many people joining in on this war. We also do have a Catholic revolt. They are not super excited that we are trying to enact not religious schools. We were trying to get rid of religious schools and enact private schools, but we will have to see how this revolt goes. If I need to, I can just get rid of enact private schools, although that might cause, and of course Great Britain has decided to side with Tripolitania. I'm not that worried about that. I definitely did not want to fight Great Britain. In fact, now I think I might have to get Germany involved. Let's go ahead and just... let's go ahead and... I could No, I'm not going to transfer them Tunis. Tunis is too valuable. Would they take any war goal? They would do a regime change. They want a regime change in Tripoli. No, I think I'm just going to use the call ally... Casus Belli, or perhaps call in... No, I don't want to offer them an obligation. I will call an obligation. So I will go ahead and call an ally. I think, going to have to rely pretty heavily on my ally in Tunis. I think Tunis, because Great Britain will be able to pretty well blockade me, this might have been a disastrous start to this campaign or this episode, but our bet is made. Let us lie in it. I do wonder what would happen what are the British going to demand if we back down now? Italian war reps, as well as, okay, England wants to conquer Tunis, so we cannot allow that to happen. Tunis is too valuable in our empire. If nothing else, just because of the good generals they provide. Tunisian generals they've won many battles for us against Austria as well as against France. We are going to need them in the future. We have a shortage of man-o-wars. Do I need man-o-wars for anything? I believe that I'm fully updated. Let's take a look at this. It says that I have an inactive trade route. Maybe that is the problem. I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. I'm going to go ahead and mobilize the 2nd Italian Army, and I will go ahead and deploy them to the African front. I also might look to go on the offensive, although I am very worried about the British Navy. I could look to try to take Malta, although I'm not sure I can actually take Malta. I do wonder if the British have... They thankfully do not have trench infantry. They do have skirmish infantry. At this point, I do believe that I am militarily caught up with the British, at least on land. Now, they probably do very much outclass me at sea. Ooh, a fort in a sea of anger. Mobs have surrounded an arsenal in Piedmont, threatening to seize the arms and munitions stored within. While the guards are staving off attacks for now, if no relief is sent, the arsenal will fall to the insurrectionists. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and say that a relief column could escalate tensions a little bit, but it's necessary. So that's going to create more radical pops in Piedmont, but it does have a chance to halt the progress on this civil war, or yeah, I'm going to hope that that hit. It did not. I actually increased the revolution progress, and this might have been disastrous, but I mean, as I said, we've made our bed. Now let us lie in it. I'm not backing down. Now, Germany has sent troops into Tunis. I think, unless Great Britain reinforces Tripolitania, I believe that we will be able to steamroll over them so quickly and start that ticking war score that it won't matter too much that the British are involved. Now, with that said, the British are going to probably try to wrestle naval dominance from me in the Mediterranean. I do feel like me and France, we are the two naval powers in the Mediterranean. I probably could have spent a little bit more time building up my navy, but I was really hoping that Great Britain would not get involved. But Great Britain tends to want to get involved in any kind of ambitions, not in Europe at least. So we'll just have to see what happens. I wondered if I might decide to call Russia in. I don't think there's any reason to call Russia in. I mean, here's the thing. If they would just do a transfer state with one of our colonies that we really just truly don't want anymore, such as Italian Congo, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off and call and use that as leverage perhaps later if we decide that we need it in a different war. I'm going to go ahead and bring all my navies home for now. We did pick a new commander. I want to check out your traits. You're a dockyard organizer. I think I'll actually pick a third commander and another naval commander. Excellent. I'm tempted to promote this man, but I'll hold off. I'll hold off. Now, if Britain does not come and put troops in Tripolitania, I do believe this is going to be a rather fast war. I'm hoping that with the entrance of Germany in the war, England will be forced to focus most of it, or Great Britain will be forced to focus much of its efforts here in Northern Europe, specifically in making sure that their home island is safe. Although, these are two very large British fleets on their way to, I would assume, the Mediterranean. So we will have to see what happens and see if they decide to try to blockade Italy. I am going to need to let my Navy's organization tick up. We were suffering from low organization because we didn't have enough commanders, so we might be in kind of a rough go of it here at the very beginning. I do have the 2nd and the 3rd Italian fleets, although the 3rd Italian fleet also has low organization. So let's go ahead and put a landowner. No, we will put a landowner, yes, dockyard organizer in power. And again, we need to be very careful not to let this revolution take hold. Private schools has successfully moved to the consideration phase. If we can get it into... We're going to need some lucky ticks. We're going to need some lucky ticks for sure. But if we can get it into law before the revolution fires, I think we can avoid said revolution. Looks like England is putting troops in the Ionian Islands. And you know what? Before I get too far ahead of myself, could we liberate Malta? I would love it if Malta was not in the hands of Great Britain. However, I don't really want to take any infamy for it, but how much infamy would that be? Just 6 to take Malta, to kind of kick Great Britain out of the Mediterranean. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw that on. I do not think that we will be able to press that claim, but we will try. And perhaps that was a bad idea, as now we are giving England more incentive to come and fight in the Mediterranean. However, I do think that if these are the only armies that they are going to be sending into the Mediterranean, yeah, I'm just seeing fleets, no armies here, thankfully, into Northern Africa, I do think Italy will be able to win this fight. Us combined with Tunis, combined with Germany. I also am hoping that our navy can do enough to blockade Tripolitania so that the British are not able to reinforce. I am definitely going to need to take a look and make sure this revolution does not fire. Our leader, Francisco, mistook an enemy in the armed forces after accusing them with false charges. Moderates in the armed forces defected to the Catholic Church's side. Uh-oh. So we can either have the Civil War progress changed by +5, or we can have him stand down. This is going to reduce the Civil War progress. Here's the thing. Our leader is wrathful. I think this is probably the best one to pick. However, I think our leader, he's more interested in his North African ambitions than necessarily stopping or necessarily crushing this revolution. It is, after all, a Catholic revolution. He is Catholic. He is... Oh, and here they come. Now they're moving in their armies. I do need the organization of our Italian fleet to hurry up and rise. It is now official. We are at war with Great Britain. Thankfully, Germany is with us. Hopefully. I'm also going to use this as an opportunity to kind of go crazy with some construction. So specifically, let's go ahead and increase the number of ships in our fleet. I'll go ahead and build 10 more monitors and 5 more ironclads. Now, immediately, we're currently being naval invaded in Lazio. Alright, well, I'm actually not super upset about that, because, and it looks like we have too many... That's going to hurt our organization. We have too much artillery and too many lancers in this army. So I'm actually going to mobilize and raise conscripts. That should solve my too many artillery and too many cavalry. Basically, too many support troops and not enough infantry in this army. That army is going to be stationed in just Italy. That will hopefully stave off the naval invasion. I'm going to hold off on mobilizing this army quite yet. Now we, of course, are going to lose all of our trade with Great Britain, which is very unfortunate, as they were a major trading partner. I'm actually pretty surprised that they were willing to give up so much trade to try to just save Tripoli, although Perhaps what they really want is Tunisia. We are being naval invaded. I do think that our army will be able to halt this invasion and just waste British manpower. I'm fine with that. I'm going to continue to just let the Navy organization rise before perhaps trying to engage them in the Western Mediterranean. After all, what is the point of a Navy if we cannot engage the enemy on the sea? I am also, of course, hoping that Germany... Now, Germany... Look, Germany, here's the thing. All right. Let's get with our German allies, and please tell them, hey, if you were to threaten England, if you were to threaten the English homeland, they are completely undefended at the moment. If you were to threaten the English homeland, they would have to pull all of their they would probably pull all of their resources home and work to defend their island. They very famously are very into defending their island, especially from Germans. So this would have been an excellent opportunity for us here. We do need dyes. This is partly our problem of getting rid of our colony and giving it to Russia. I would not need any... Is that true? If I imported from the Egyptian market, I wouldn't need any convoys? It also... I mean, if I don't need any convoys, that means there's nothing for Great Britain to convoy raid to keep me from importing dyes, right? I'll also do it from the French and the Russian market. Would I really only need 3 convoys? All right, we'll go ahead and do that to import dyes. Keep our manufacturing up and running. All right, there are the British fleets. There is a very large German fleet here as well. We are seeing this naval invasion happen. That is exactly what I did not want. We are getting a revolution event, the procession of provocations. Dissidents in Umbria have announced plans for a major march around government offices in the near future. While they profess peaceful intentions and claim everyone will be unarmed, the march itself will obviously serve as a rallying point for those unhappy with the government. We could stop the march by any means, or we could let the procession go ahead. I think we have to say, all right, let's just let this procession go ahead. And it did reduce the revolution progress, although I don't think I unfortunately don't think that private schools is worth losing the entire northern part of my nation for. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. We should see the revolution disappear. It sure does. Thankfully, we don't see a counter-revolution to try to enact private schooling, so I guess that shows you that it just wasn't super popular. What is very popular is landed voting. However, I have no interest in passing that. I am a strong empire. I'm a strong monarch. I am role-playing as said monarch who has maybe bit off more than he can chew in a war with Great Britain. However, let us remember, he is not only wrathful, but he is brave. In fact, I might put him... You know what? Let's do it. Let's grant him a command. He is in charge of the 3rd Italian Army. Where is the 3rd Italian Army? He has decided personally to go to the front. Also, why are we not invading here? We should definitely be advancing the front line. He has decided personally to go to the front and lead his armies. Now, honestly, I think I probably would have rather had him be a... Yeah, I think I probably would have had him, or rather had him be a admiral, but it is what it is. We are currently winning the war. We will have to see how deep the British resolve is to actually continue this fighting. We did get an event for dangerous equipment. I think we've had this event a couple of times before. Steel mills in Tuscany have seen an increase in workplace injuries due to increased mechanization. Actually, I don't think we've had this before. And poor safety regulations. We can slow down the production. Well, we can never slow down the production. We can also just increase the mortality. Yeah, we're gonna do that one. We care little for the lives of regular everyday Italians, after all. After all, we are sending regular everyday Italians to die in droves in North Africa. We are looking, it looks like we are losing one battle and winning another. Now, Germany has sent quite a few troops. We additionally have our Tunisian brothers, our Tunisian allies. They have been absolutely imperative for this game. We are suffering shortages because probably of a British blockade, mostly just in dyes, but that's hurting our ability to make paper. We will need to try to break the British blockade. I'm still trying to let our army regain its organization. We were not ready to go to war, and as a result, we are not ready to defend our boot. It does appear that some British armies are heading elsewhere. I do wonder where they are going. I wonder also if I should think about trying to naval invade Malta. What am I talking about? I can't stand up to the British in the Mediterranean, so I won't be able to secure Malta. Speaking of, let's go ahead and just see. Alright, they are not happy about that at all, but this war is newly begun. We are hopefully going to crush Tripoli, as well as the British defenders of Tripoli. Meanwhile, I do wonder, the 4th German Fleet, they are on complete... They are protecting convoys. They are organizing merchant convoys. So they are just trying to protect their boats. Which is important because, well, if we can't get supply to these armies, they are in trouble. I do think with 95% organization, it is time for us as well to go. And I am going to say that it is also time to organize some merchant protection. Let's protect our boys as best we can. Now we are seeing some naval battles here. Oh, and it appears that we might actually win a naval battle, or the Germans might win a naval battle. That could be huge. Wait, oh, it ended inconclusively. How unfortunate. Here we go, though. The Germans are taking aggressive maneuvers against the British. This hopefully will result in a victory. We have a trade agreement from the United States. I will take that because I want to build up relations between us and the United States. In fact, I might go ahead and just improve relations with the United States. In fact, I actually can't, probably because our relations are already very high. I would say the war is going well so far. They still haven't made any progress landing fleets. But they have been able to land a lot of troops in North Africa, and this is where I worry that our invasion will start to falter. I do think we are going to defeat this absolutely massive army of 100,000 soldiers. They are going to lose quite a few. I'm starting to think that the British were very serious about defending North Africa. In fact, I'm pretty sure that with a force of over 100,000 in North Africa, they are throwing the entire weight of the British manpower forces at North Africa. That is surprising. I'm honestly surprised that they deemed Tripoli worth spending what will have to be just tens of thousands of British lives on. And in fact, I think we are in a situation where the British might be struggling to maintain their naval superiority in the Balkan and the Mediterranean. Germany has absolutely built when it comes to fleet size. In fact, I maybe should start taking a hint from Germany and very much increase the size of my own fleets. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to build some more monitors. I'm also going to need to build some more, it looks like, industry. I'm going to go ahead and go a little crazy, build 15 more monitors, as well as, let's go ahead and do in, we'll do it in Lazio, 10 more ironclads. I think if we want to have ambitions outside of the boot of Europe, even really outside of the Balkans, we are going to have to build our fleet tremendously. Because, well, it does look like while Germany has had some success in the ocean, we are absolutely being destroyed. Take a look at that, 2.4 thousand dead to their 700. I don't know if we can really say that Italy rules the waves quite yet. With that said, though, I do not think they are going to be able to make much progress in their in terms of their naval invasion of Lazio. However, what a disaster that would be if we were to lose, if we were to be placed in a situation where they were able to conquer Lazio. Now, I think if I were England, what I would do is actually try to invade Sicily, or not Sicily, Italy or Corsica. Sorry, Sardinia or Corsica. All right, we're going to get plus 10 naval base max limit. That's going to be, I would say, pretty important to our new naval ambitions. Meanwhile, we are stalemating in North Africa, and that is a problem. I do wonder if they would accept a white peace. They absolutely would not. I'm going to go ahead and keep those claims pressed, because I do think that while we are struggling on the sea, I do think our German allies are in pretty good shape. I say that, but they are losing both of these fights, so maybe not. Maybe not. It does seem that, what is this? The British Army of Ireland, where is that going? They are traveling to Cape Colony. Oh, so they are fighting a revolt against the Cape Colony peasants. I'm pretty sure that that is where a good portion of the British Army and Navy is heading. Meanwhile, that can only be good news for us. Now, unfortunately, we are losing convoys like crazy. I'm actually not sure if we are going to be able to continue to supply our troops here. That means we might rely very heavily on not just Germany, but in fact, Tunis. Tunis has been a real MVP. They have been great. I'm going to go ahead and put you on an advanced front order. I don't think I'm quite ready to go with a reckless advance yet, but we have 75,000 men in this army. I think it is time for us to use them. I'm also going to recruit an open terrain commander, because this does appear to be pretty open terrain to me. I would love it if Italy started to actually fight, because it does seem like Germany is currently fighting most of our battles for us. Our Navy is valiantly trying to hold off the British naval invasion. We will see if it comes to fruition. I think even if the British are able to defeat our Navy and defeat us pretty epically, is what it's looking like, I do believe that our home army will be able to withstand any kind of naval invasion. I say let them come. That's right, let them come. In fact, it might be time to self-propelled torpedoes, unlocks torpedo boats, leads to submarines. Yeah, you know what? As I'm fighting a war in the Mediterranean, I think it could be a good idea to invest in our naval technology, especially if it can perhaps change the balance of power in the Mediterranean. Although, if you just take a look at the bottom right-hand corner, we are in dire straits when it comes to the number of convoys that are being sunk. Now, Tripoli does seem to have they are pretty exhausted, but they are not ready to give in quite yet. I think we are going to have to actually conquer this territory, but if you take a look, it does appear that we are stalemating in northern Africa. With that said, I am seeing more and more English fleets leaving, and hello, we have what looks like will be a naval victory. In fact, I think it might be time to go ahead and start throwing out our second Italian fleet. Now, should it go to raid convoys? I don't think that... You know what? I'm actually going to put them on an interception stance. Let's see, is there another commander that would be good? Perhaps a dockyard organizer? Sure. And we will put them on an interception stance as well, and we will put them into whatever sea node this is, the central Mediterranean, and just try to intercept the Lisbon station. And indeed, we are intercepting the Lisbon station, and it does appear that we might actually have the upper hand here. We get some lucky rolls, and by golly, the British ships seem to be melting away in front of our superior Italian navy. Well, locally superior Italian navy. The British have moved some more fleets in. That could be a problem. And now our economy is starting to, unfortunately, spiral, as I do believe that the naval blockade from Great Britain has caught up with us. With that said, the Italian Second Fleet has kicked the Lisbon station out of the central Mediterranean, and it might be time to put them into the western Mediterranean to try to stem the tide, because right now we are in serious dire straits in the western Mediterranean. Let us go ahead, move sea nodes. We'll take them to the western Mediterranean, where they will hopefully help break the deadlock. I will also send the third Italian fleet. I don't know how much good they are going to do, but they are on their way as well. And it does look like our stalemate has officially... it looks like we have lost all territorial gains that we had. I do wonder, what are the casualties? What's the casualty rate look like? And they would, it looks like, accept a white peace, although... Okay, Great Britain does not agree to that, however, Tripoli would. I do wonder how long it will take for Great Britain to accept a white peace. I have zero desire of giving Great Britain a white peace. I do think, let's take a look. How many Englishmen have lost their lives in an attempt to preserve Tripolitania? Now, I will say that Germany has absolutely... I mean, this was a raw deal for Germany. I don't know if helping Italy take over Tripolitania, modern-day Libya, is necessarily worth that to the Germans. The British have lost 132,000 men just in battle alone, whereas they have lost 20,000 to attrition. Meanwhile, us Italians, we've only lost 22,000 into attrition. We've lost 20,000 in battle. I think most of those have actually been in the sea. There is a rubber rush. Rubber has been found in the Italian Congo. It really doesn't matter because, well, I don't have access to the Italian Congo anymore. literacy rate is now above 60%. That is excellent. We have really come a long way in the last, what is this, 70 years at this point? It is now officially the 20th century. It is in August of the year 1900, which means we have about 36 more years to go in this campaign, and hopefully we will see some Italian ambitions. I had all these dreams of perhaps making the Mediterranean really just well, what is it, Mare Nostrum, and it's a Roman lake, or our lake is what that meant. Although I am being thwarted right now by Great Britain. It's alright, I am not necessarily worried too much. I could raise my conscripts. I don't really see that as a need at the moment. I have raised my conscripts in this army. Now their organization is currently suffering. Oh, it's because they have way too many men. Let's take a look. Hey, this man is a defensive strategist. He is part of the landowners. I'm going to hold off on perhaps not promoting him yet. Supply expert. I do like supply experts. Oh, and of course there's me. I can't promote myself any farther, so I am going to go ahead and promote. Oh, he's a pacifist? Alright. Well, he is a brave defensive strategist and an open terrain commander. I'm going to go ahead and promote him to a major general. I am also going to hire one more. Let's go with this defensive strategist. He has the adamant defense. Let's go ahead and put both of these men on adamant defense. Hey, defend our boot. Meanwhile, we are unfortunately losing battle left and right. The best we can say is that we are hopefully, and when I say hopefully, I mean hopefully, creating a situation where Great Britain will decide that this war is just untenable, although I do worry that our German allies might make the same decision. The wine-producing Campania, though, has been absolutely lauded by sommeliers as outstanding. So I'm going to go ahead and just give us a little bit more prestige. We're not hurting for prestige, but prestige is never bad. We, it appears, have made some gains. Specifically, our allies in Tunis have made some gains, but, I mean, if you take a look, just the pure... Oh, Spain has begun to embargo us, and we have officially gotten a peace treaty. Now, they are asking for a white peace. No, I'm not going to accept this deal. They're asking for peace. That means they are exhausted. We can fight on. Now, it does suck that Spain has decided to embargo us. Does that mean we have a shortage on any military goods? We probably have a shortage on a lot of military goods. Let's take a look. We do have a shortage on artillery, a quite severe shortage on artillery. We can import a lot from Germany, though, so that should help alleviate some of our concerns. I will also import some from the French market. Now we should have plenty of artillery, and I'm going to keep fighting. Unfortunately, the Italian fleet has lost all of its morale and manpower. Oh, and well, hey, they had some victories, but unfortunately, they just could not take on the, let's be honest, vastly superior English Navy. Now, we have learned some things in this episode. We have learned that our Navy is not as strong as we had hoped. We will need to, and now the 3rd Italian Fleet has to return to the Congo. Do I even have a naval base there? Anyway, we have learned some valuable things in this episode, most notably that we cannot stand with the British on the sea. Okay, interesting. I am pretty sure that the British are so willing to defend Tripoli because Tripoli has become part of the British market after leaving our market. So we really do want to win this just so that we don't lose what we had, because even a white peace, we still lost a member of our customs union. In fact, maybe it was a stupid idea to attack a member of our customs union in the first place. I also had ambitions to attack Egypt. Now, if Great Britain were involved in that, I once again think that I would struggle mightily. But yeah, so we've learned some things in this episode. I am unfortunately going to have to wrap up this episode for today. We are in utter stalemate in North Africa, unfortunately. It looks like we have pushed a little into... No, we haven't pushed at all into Tripoli. We are in utter stalemate in North Africa. And I do believe that unless England just decides that, hey, this war is not worth just adding a member to their customs union, especially a member of their customs union that only has 1.7 million people in it, then I think that is our only chance for victory, is having Great Britain decide that, well, hey, it's really not worth almost over 200,000 British lives to try to add Tripoli to their customs union. Now, the question is also, is it worth over 220,000 German lives to help their ally Italy? We will have to see. Either way, I am going to have to end the episode here. I've been the Bold. You have been you. I do hope you continue on. Come and watch the next episode. It'll be released tomorrow, and we will see if we are able to turn around this deadlock in North Africa.